Anyone who's had a job knows what it means to have coworkers. You probably also know what it means to have a boss. And there's a lot about these relationships that kind of just goes without saying. You were hired to have responsibilities, goals, and a certain level of performance and standards are expected. But what happens when your colleague is an AI agent? I'm Jennifer Strong, and this is Shift.
Now here on the steering column is a device called Auto Cruise. You simply set the speed you want.
Self-driving robo-taxis are already on the road in 2 U.S. cities.
As the disc rotates, a mirror reflects the light in the way that depends on how the signal was recorded.
This is the 100 terabyte action. I present to you Electro, the Moto Man. Ladies and gentlemen.
I would say that one of my greatest skills is my ability to interact with humans.
This episode, it's the latest installment of our oral history project.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was feeling stuck trying to squeeze in getting tax help, but never having enough time. Now, Taxes is getting a TurboTax expert who does your taxes from start to finish. While they work on your taxes, you get real-time updates on their progress. And you get the most money back guaranteed. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Apple Card is everything a credit card should be. It's easy to manage, built to be secure, and gives users up to 3% daily cash back on every purchase. The best part about Apple Card is applying is quick and easy. Apply in the Wallet app on iPhone and see your credit limit offer in minutes. Subject to credit approval, Apple Card by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Member FDIC. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Why am I here? What do I need to do every day? How can I succeed? It's a very human question. I'm Sarah Franklin, and I'm CEO of Lattice and proud mother of 2 daughters. Lattice is an HR tech company. Basically, we are a piece of software that companies can use to manage all of their people information and their payment information. So anybody that's ever had a job and a manager and a paycheck, all the information that powers you being able to do all of that, Lattice does that. We had this foresight into the wave of innovation that's coming with agentic AI. And we saw that AI would be entering the workplace and that this is going to cause a lot of change and disruption. And it's something which, when you look at cautionary tales of social media or mobile phones, which was new technologies that we didn't know what they would do to our society. We didn't know that mobile phones we would be addicted to. We didn't know that social media could cause anxiety. And we didn't know what questions to ask as this technology came into our world. And it wasn't until over decades later that we had mechanisms to control those technologies, meaning it took over 10 years for screen time to be invented for us to just manage our own addiction. It took over a decade for GDPR and government agencies to intervene and say, hey, you know what? We should pay attention to the data and the privacy around that data. But by that time, everyone's already addicted and the algorithms are like fighting for our attention. And so with that in mind, in July, we had a very small yet mighty innovation, which creates a record for agents as employees in the workforce. And why this was powerful is because it takes the same processes that any company has today for how you hire an employee, onboard an employee, give an employee goals, measure their goals, and then, either promote or, maybe they leave or maybe you decide they should leave. That whole life cycle, we have a process in place for it. And we can just apply the same thing for AI as it comes into the workforce, because we need to have the transparency of where it is, and we need accountability for its performance. And we need to have the governance around when it's interacting with your systems or your people, that it has an identity that you can track. This was a new and novel idea, and people were like, whoa, what is she talking about? She's saying that AI is human? Whoa, she is crazy. Clown emoji, that girl on LinkedIn. And that was a very interesting time to then go and say, oh, I understand that you are afraid, but this fear and this uncertainty and this doubt cannot be reasons why we don't responsibly look at what is happening. And, fast forward to today, where I think 5-year-olds are talking about AI agents. Everybody knows how to use ChatGPT because it's simple, because it's easy. And they're like, oh yeah, that's cool. That AI is going to be my colleague. And so this was a very interesting time, but it's also just very important that as we bring AI in, as we're in this new economy, this AI economy, which is about not automation, it is about autonomy, and the currency is trust, where we're not just having information, we're going to have intelligence. This is so important that we do have a way to have a system to track it, to manage it, to onboard it, to have confidence with it, because just like any employee, like you sign an employee contract, you have a confidentiality of access to systems. If you're going to give that same thing to an agent, we need to be responsible, because there are very real jobs at stake. That's the other thing that's different. Social media didn't come for your jobs. Mobile phones didn't come for your jobs. It's very real that AI is changing jobs and taking jobs. And so how do we responsibly bring this in so that we don't take ourselves down a dystopian pathway? Not the whole world is prepared with a universal base income. Not everybody's prepared for this. We need to steer ourselves purposefully more towards a utopian outcome, and that requires courage. It requires going down pathways where we don't know the answers to yet, and it requires us to take a deep-seated stance in our humanity and believing that people is the primary reason that we're looking at this technology, the success of people. Not technology just to be technology, but to help people have a better future and have a better humanity. And that, I think, is what's so important as we look to these new technologies with AI. We're in early innings with AI, but it's moving super fast. And this is not just transforming a technology, it's transforming our whole economy. Whether it's looking at the electricity that we need or changing the colleagues that we're going to be working with. This isn't just like a new device like a phone. This is a whole new way of working. And we feel at Lattice, again, back to our values, is that while we are excited and optimistic around the opportunity that this technology brings, it also has a very need for us to be very clear-eyed about what we're looking at in terms of potential downsides that could happen. And we need to be very responsible in how we bring AI in. There's not enough education that people understand the difference between, automation and autonomy. And for AI to autonomously be acting on your behalf, on your brand's behalf, on your company's behalf, there's a lot of trust that is required there when you don't know with certainty what it will say, what it will do, and it may make people happy, it may make people angry. And so how do you also monitor that and measure that and manage that? So that's what I think is so important, is that in the AI economy, where trust is really the currency, we have to put the success of people as the primary and look to ways that we educate people, we hold AI accountable, and we manage it so it doesn't happen to us. We are in control of our destiny. And that is something which nobody has a skill for yet. We've never done this before. And we need leadership to be courageous, transparent, accountable, so that we can responsibly go into this future with AI together.
The world's hardest problems can't wait. food security, energy resilience, the digital divide, I'm Astro Teller. For 15 years, I've worked with inventors and engineers to tackle the seemingly impossible. In the Moonshot podcast, we take you inside X, Google's Moonshot Factory, giving you unprecedented access to the messy, exhilarating journey of turning science fiction into reality. This is the Moonshot Podcast, out now wherever you listen.
After years of overpaying for wireless with a big-name carrier, I finally got fed up with the high bills and bogus fees, and I switched my family to Mint Mobile. It has premium service plans starting at just $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring along your number, too. It's $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. I used to pay $50 a month for the same plan. And it only took a few minutes to switch in the Mint Mobile app. Plus, if you travel a lot like I do, you'll appreciate the free international calls and deeply discounted travel data. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/shift. That's mintmobile.com/shift. Upfront payment of $45 for a 3-month 5-gig plan required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for the first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Lattice was built really on the belief that we want to make work meaningful. You think about your daily life and what motivates you to get up every day and that sense of purpose that you have. It's very important. A job shouldn't just be a place you go. It should be a place where you find delight and happiness in the purpose that you have. So Lattice was meant to, at its core, document what your goals are and then help your manager understand how you're working towards those goals, assess if you're doing a good job or a poor job, if you need help, if you need feedback, and then make sure that you're getting paid fairly for all of that. And so it's a deep passion to make work meaningful by shining a light on having your purpose and achieving that purpose in the best way you can. You log into it and you write down what you want to achieve and you share it with your managers and friends, just like you would share a post on social media. And then you keep updating it regularly as you go through, the year or the month or the quarter. And it's on your phone, so it's really easy to access. And just like when you go to social media and you see all your friends that you're friends with, you see your colleagues, you see their profile pictures, you see the information about them. Instead of seeing their personal information, what you see is what their job title is, who their manager is. It becomes a way for people to share feedback. And so it's used to, after you maybe have a good meeting with somebody, or you see somebody do a good presentation, or you see something that could warrant some improvement and you have feedback, people bring it up. Just like you comment on a social media post, you comment on some feedback and you can share it publicly or privately. And when you go to a job every day, there's a lot of information. I mentioned some of the basics of who's your manager, how much you get paid, what your goals are, what your responsibilities are. There's other applications that you work in. You could be a salesperson and you work in a CRM system. You could be an engineer and you work in a coding repository. And so the short thing to say is that we interact with a lot of people and a lot of systems every day in our job, no matter what your job is. And to understand how well you're performing, you need to understand across many people and many systems what the feedback is. And so the other thing about Lattice is that we bring all of that together. And what's great in the new world today with technology advancements like AI and data science is that we help people achieve more understanding of what you're doing in your job than our human brain can really process. And that's so powerful because whether it's in the work, whether it's in your private life, whether it's in the governments and anywhere, there's a lot of misunderstanding because we can't process all the information. Somebody may show up and they're disheveled, or they may show up and they're distracted. You don't know that they might have just received information that maybe a family member's got a terminal illness or something, and it may think, oh, they didn't show up very well right now. Well, the more that we can develop empathy and understanding, and that we can put that into a way that we're able to be more human with each other, not just around having technology to help do better performance management, et cetera, et cetera. It's about creating technology that helps us be more human and helps us have more understanding, and really building a future which is around the success of people as a primary versus like how cool is our technology. Being able to provide coaching where you can ask and talk to an HR system, not just enter data into a system, but you can ask it questions like, how do I get promotion? And this is something that women tend to have a hard time asking for. And by serving up AI as the interface for that conversation, it helps women, and not just women, it helps introverts, it helps people in general that have a hard time having conversations, asking for themselves. They may be a great performer, but their work goes unrecognized. And so these are other things which are important to have in the system. So the system, you can look and say, okay, who is my top talent? And the system can help you see beyond your blind spots, beyond the biases, whether they may be recency, proximity, language, familiarity. This is something which is very important as we go forward in the world, and something which I deeply believe that this is a way to remove the fear of asking. And I think that's something that's very important. 20, 30 years from now, same way that we look at rotary phones, which were revolutionary in the day, and we look at them as like artifacts now, just the way we're so nascent, honestly, with AI. And so we're putting AI into Lattice. So yes, I can talk to my HR system. I can ask it questions. For example, if my mother was sick and I wanted to take time to help her, before I would have to go surf through and peck through a bunch of PDF documents around my benefit information. I'd have to go log into a system to see what is my like vacation that I have or my time off that I have left. I'd have to understand my state or country policies around family medical leave and disability things. And it's a lot to put together, combined with your having emotional thoughts around, oh my gosh, this is, something I want to help my mother. And you can just say, my mom's sick, how can I help her? And by the system knowing your context of how many years you've been in the company, what your benefit policies are, where you're located, the state and local information, it can tell you, oh, you, by your policy, can get 2 weeks of vacation and you qualify for this medical aid. And because you've been in the company for 3 years, we'll also give you a sabbatical program that you could maybe take. And you'd be like, oh, I didn't know all of that. And so being able to ask questions, it just is an opportunity to make technology more human and give us this sense of simplicity. I just want to help my mom. I just want to help my dad. How can I do that? It's a very human question. And you don't want to have a complicated system being a barrier to being able to just get on a plane and go be with them and know that you can do that and the rest of your family and finances are fine. And this is the opportunity we have. We can make this so much simpler and we can make this so much better at the same time.
This episode was produced by me and Emma Cillekens and mixed by Garret Lang, with original music from him and Jacob Gorski. Thanks for listening. I'm Jennifer Strong.
From PRX.